Yes, you know what it is, folks. We're on IG, we're on Twitter or X at Hatfield Sports, and we're talking to you with our regular Friday night recap of the high school football action in Virginia as we give you the Hats hits, talking about everything that's going on. My 5 takeaways, which we put out each and every Friday night after the games as we roll the clock into midnight and the next morning on Saturday. We've got 757 Saturday Sports Talk coming away on Cova Sports TV, where we are also streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're everywhere. VirginiaPreps.com, all across the globe as we talk to you about the high school football action on this particular Friday, the first one of November as we turn the calendar from October. I've got my orange Halloween on, and I'm here to give you some thoughts about what has transpired in the high school football scene. There were some surprises tonight, some things that didn't make the cut for Hats hits. I'm going to get to the topic that's on social media, the scuttlebutt about the school that might be facing a ban for multiple years. I'll give you my take on all that. Don't worry. I actually took in a good game tonight. I had some field hockey play-by-play responsibilities from my folks at the Plex tonight, Regional Training Center. I had 3 choices, actually 4 choices. It was multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. A was go home and watch a bunch of games online, which was what I was leaning towards doing at one point. Ended up going to see Bayside Ocean Lakes, which we'll have interviews for you all on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, Coach John White and a couple of the Marlin standouts, and Amir Lyde and Xavier Guidry. B was go to Pocosin and Bruton, which I thought about. Kind of glad I did. Nothing against you, Pocosin, which you're going to get some love in a second. It was a blowout, and I thought it might be a comfortable win for the Bull Islanders. Bruton's had a great year, but I'm going across that tunnel on Saturday anyway for Phoebus Warwick, which I am so looking forward to. Peninsula District Showdown, heavyweight battle. Part of why we're going early with 757 Saturday Sports Talk before our normal 9:30, 10 o'clock start till about 11:30, 12 noon. We can get Coach Young out of bed. Hard to say that'll happen because, he sleeps in. He didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m. and he wakes up whenever the alarm or my phone buzzes to wake him up. So that was B. Passed on that. C, what was C? C was Bayside Ocean Lakes, which is what I chose. D was just bang my head on the wall 16 times, which was what I, might do anyways. But let's get to my takeaways. And the first one, which we're going to share on the screen for those watching on our Twitter or X at Hatfield Sports and the Cova Sports TV and on Facebook, and I'll read it to you watching on IG. Number 1, time to pay attention to those boys in Mineral, Virginia, the Louisa Lions under Coach Will Patrick. I've done some podcasts recently, and I've kind of said this quietly, but I'm going to say it louder now. In Region 5C, they've now got 7 straight wins by double figures, all scoring 40-plus points since the 0-2 start. Return of homegrown 2026 stars Savion Hyder and Rutgers commit Dazier Carter makes them more dangerous later this month in the postseason. #lookout. A couple things that I have some thoughts on this. Thought number 1, the grass isn't always greener if you leave kids, coaches. A lot of people out there recruiting, trying to get transfers, enticing. And I'm not knocking Woodbury Forest, so don't take that as what I'm doing here. But Carter and Hyder were homegrown youngsters. You can get recruited wherever you go. I don't care what anybody tells you, whatever anybody sells you. If you're good, they're going to find you, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, they wanted to go play for their home school, which is Louisa. And in years past, this is what angers me. People get all upset about 8 teams. We take too many. Years ago, but back when I was in school, back in my day when I walked 15 miles in the snow, back in my day, you only took 4 to the postseason across the various classifications. And you would be 8-2 teams left home. You'd have an 8-2 Kempsville back in my day who'd have a short end of a stupid coin flip draw, and they're at home while Kellum and Salem are partying with the same record. Didn't seem fair. Now, do I like 2-8 and 1-9 getting into playoffs? Heck no. I don't think that's right either. Should there be some kind of cutoff at 500 or better? Maybe. Should you have to do this or that? Maybe. But the bottom line is, years ago, 0-2, you're written off, left for dead. Louisa's won these 7 straight games by double digits. They spank Albemarle tonight. I don't have the score in front of me. I can tell you what it was. Let me pull it up here. I think I've got it here on my screen. 59-14 over the Patriots of Albemarle. And guess what? Now they're cooking. All right, I didn't say they're winning the region championship. I acknowledge Matoka and William Fleming are going to be your 1 and 2 seeds and the favorites. But Warriors, Colonels, if you're out there listening and anybody else that plays them, don't take these guys lightly. They're good. Those are home run hitters. They can make you pay. And kudos to Will Patrick keeping it together. There you go. Kevin McIntyre. Obi Boykin says that. You got to help me out with that there, Obi. All right. That's number 1. Let's get to number 2 here on the Hats Hits as I go over to it and get it set up for the folks watching on the computer screen, on the internet. Number 2, it was the comeback of the night in the Bay Rivers District. I was watching this game, and literally my phone said, my goodness, and I know Ed Young loves this on the show because it drives him nuts when he picks against New Kent, or he picks New Kent and they bite him. Smithfield was losing 31-7. This just goes to show you, if you're watching college football, the NFL, the Fall Classic that I thought was miserable and overhyped that just concluded the other night with the Yankees and Dodgers. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Ed. It's 5-0. And a basketball coaching buddy of mine told me the other night, first of all, he told me in the first inning it's a long way to go in the game, but he also told me in the fifth inning it was, it's done, it's over. And then guess what? The Dodgers came back. Sadly for all you Yankee fans. 31-7. I bet people headed for the exits at Smithfield. Pat Doolin, if you're out there listening, AD at Smithfield, my good buddy, former Churchill Hoops coach, send me a text of what it looked like in Packerland in the start of the fourth quarter when they're down 31-7. And then send me the jubilation after the comeback as Tracy Parker's team turns a 31-7 deficit into a 37-34 overtime win that they won't soon forget in Packerland at the Slaughterhouse out in Smithfield, Ham Country. Not only can it secure the best record since 2017 for Smithfield, who's still probably going to be the number 3 seed in Region 4A, in grand scheme of things, big picture, all right, I'm going to say to make them mad, just like I made folks mad in Class 5 this week. I did an IG with Coach with Lee Mary out there, ball in VA, and made everybody mad at that I said Maury's the favorite in Class 5. Heaven forbid I tell the truth. They are the favorite. Not saying you out there, Warwick, Green Run, Kings Fork, Matoka, William Fleming, list goes on and on. Don't have a chance, but let's just be honest here. It is what it is. So I'm going to make Smithfield mad for a second. I'm going to ran their parade here. Phoebus is going to win Region 4A, or I'll be shocked out of my mind. I'll come on with the Smithfield mascot outfit, and I'll go kiss a fish and a frog and let Keith do the show for the next 4 weeks after that if I'm wrong with Coach Young. And Keith, for those that don't know, is a diehard Smithfield lover. Big fan. Wasn't there tonight, though. Bad job by Keith not being there. Bad job, Keith. We do love you, though. Nonetheless, 2 things. One, it gives Smithfield a lot of mojo, and it reversed what happened a few weeks ago when they lost the heartbreaking quadruple overtime game to Poquoson. Otherwise, they have just the one blemish to Lafayette, and they got handled by Lafayette. And the second thing, Region 3A, in the playoff picture, they had won 3 in a row recently. They lose this game. Now they're in peril of missing the playoffs entirely. This type of loss that can sting, and it might have more of an adverse negative effect than even a positive boost and jolt to Smithfield. It's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Wide World of Sports, ABC used to say. So there you have it. From the highs of highs, the lows of lows, and we'll see how New Kent responds with 1 game to go. And if this can give Smithfield a type of boost, they could very well in Region 4A, which now takes 6 teams as opposed to 8, get the 3 seed and play Hampton, the number 2 seed, the Crabbers, who beat Bethel on Thursday night, on Halloween night, in the second round of the playoffs, region semis. And by the way, we'll have that on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, a little tease with sophomore quarterback Marcus Chapman, our interview with him. Let's get to number 3 and stick in the Bay Rivers District for a minute, and we'll also take any of your comments, your questions. Hit us up on the IG, whatever's on your mind, on Facebook, the YouTube, all over the web here as we tick past midnight out there on a Friday night here in November with the high school football. Let's go to it. Number 3. As we said, stick in the Bay Rivers District. And how about those Poquoson Bull Islanders? Give them some love. 9-0 for the first time since 1978 after thumping previously undefeated Bruton 42-6. This was not a game. It was a running clock victory. And Bruton, what a year they're having. Their best start. Their first 8-game winning streak since 1998 when Kyle Neve, now the AD at Lafayette, was the head football coach of Bruton. And what a job Barrington Morrison's done. We had him on the Hash with Hatfield podcast. They'd given up just 34 points in the previous 8 games. Tonight, they get torched for 42 by a Poquoson team that got its starting quarterback in Eli Tyndall back. They're getting healthy. They're playing their best football at the right time of the year. Now, here's the big test. We know Lafayette's a Class 3 state championship contender. They yawned their way through a lot of these games. They got York on Saturday. Now, last year, Poquoson had a lead. Let it slip away. Lafayette got hot in the playoffs, made it all the way to Liberty University in Lynchburg, and fell to Liberty Christian. We'll see if they have what it takes to hang with them this year. Lafayette feels they're better this year. Poquoson does too. Regardless of what happens, this is a team that can make it to state championship Saturday come December. People in Class 2, They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of experience, a lot of toughness, and they showed it tonight in this big win over Bruton. I hear you, Jack Lowe, my Cova Sports TV colleague. We'll get to the Hayfield stuff in a minute, and if you want to hear my perspective on it, stay tuned. I'm going to wait till the very end. I got to tease you, let it marinate, collect my thoughts, and give you my perspective and thoughts at the end. We'll get to that. So hang tight. I know everybody wants to hear that. They're hanging on every word with that. It's coming. It's coming, folks. But on Poquoson for a second here. Look, Class 2 rankings in the state. We've got Graham, the G-Men, the real G-Men, not the New York Football Giants, who have the Commanders this weekend and probably will lose again, and Daniel Jones will be quarterbacking them soon. But Graham High School out in Southwest Virginia, number 1 in the state in Class 2. We've got Poquoson now number 2 in Class 2. They've won back-to-back Region 2A titles. They got themselves prepped with the schedule. They scrimmaged Ocean Lakes, a Class 5 school, to start the year. They beat Lake Taylor on the road, a Class 3 school with a lot of history, tradition, prestige. On the road in Norfolk, people thought it'd be a house of horror, Hank Sawyer's team. They did that. They had the injuries. They've had some close wins. Good job for Poquoson. Coach Elliott Duty, our man Bill Ward out there, the OC, and that whole staff, those players. Big props to them. A lot of guys stepping up for them, from Jason Kell to Cam Stowers to Tyndall to just a myriad of guys. Carter Jones on the line. I could name off about 10, 12 guys like that group, and they have a chance to be championship bound come December. Let's get to our next one here as we come back here on the screen for number 4. And I pull it up here on the screen for those that are watching on Twitter or X or YouTube or all of our different platforms. So let's give the RVA a little attention now in Richmond tonight. There was not a ton of big games. In fact, if you look on VirginiaPreps.com, where we do our on the screen for a second, VIP picks. I got my little sheet right here. We did 13 at Baker's Dozen. I think I was 9-3 last week on a 12. And there was 8 games for Friday action, 4 on Saturday, Lake Braddock, South County tomorrow, Washington Liberty, and Langley tomorrow. Highland Springs, Verona, that's a biggie tomorrow, and the massive one in 757, Phoebus and Warwick at Darling Stadium, a kick at noon, 9-0 Raiders, 8-0 Phantoms. My predictions, the in-depth breakdown on Phoebus and Warwick, you can find on Virginia Preps. Read the preview on Daniel Lewis with Highland Springs, Verona, always a huge classic clash in the Capital District. But you can see the picks on the VIP board. I don't want to give them away for you right here. You got to subscribe. And looking at those picks, we also had a couple other games that we did select winners for. We also did on that VIP post, Westmoreland, Rappahannock, Abingdon Union, got that one wrong. GW Danville, Mecklenburg, Thomasdale, Hopewell, got that one wrong. Upset for Hopewell getting the job done despite their injuries. Grayson County, George Wythe, got that one wrong. EC Glass, Silver Heritage, got that. I had a bad week with the picks. It's like my NFL picks. They've been a little stinky. And 2 I did get right in Richmond. TJ Armstrong, Huguenot Midlothian. Thomas Jefferson of Richmond last year lost to Armstrong in the playoffs. Didn't have their quarterback, Rashad Cherry, who we interviewed along with Amari Goff, the Buckingham transfer after their win over Norcom and Portsmouth. Got a lot of speed. That defense was pitching shutouts early. Huguenot tonight, Midlothian. They pummel them. Quarterback Linwood Johnson, Verona transferred, has a big game. Those receivers, Ivion Lewis, Markel Dabney, been balling out all year. They could strike in a hurry. Charles Scott's got a team that feels it can win a championship in Class 4. And our hit right here on the Hats hit. We'll read it for you, folks. We pull it up now on the screen. So we got to zoom in, too, because it's a little hard to read. You got to squint. With state championship Saturday in December on the brain, it's on my brain because I'm thinking about my plans. I'll probably be at Harrisonburg's James Madison University for that. There may be 2 teams from the RVA or 804 area code at Liberty University and Arthur L. Williams Stadium. And you say, well, Dinwiddie's won a couple titles before. They'll probably be there. Verona will probably be there. Hopewell will probably be there. No, I'm not talking about those teams. All of whom are quality worthy, will probably be there again one day. Talking about Huguenot and TJ of Richmond. The RVA City Schools in Richmond. They validated their awesome starts with strong performances tonight. Each can beat you in a multitude of ways to believe they will soon make 9-0, become 14-0 by next month. And they don't care about who they're going to see if they get to the state semis and win their regions again. Yeah, Huguenot's got to get through Dinwiddie and Verona. Yeah, TJ might have to go through Armstrong again. This win tonight helps catapult them ahead of Kettle Run in the power ratings. But they feel like if the passing game ain't working, they can run it. If the running's not working, they can hit you over top. Their defenses can get in a groove where they get 2 or 3 or 4 3-and-outs in a row. They don't depend on just one element or one guy to take you down. And that is why they're both dangerous. They're both ranked number 2 in the state in their respective classes. Huguenot behind Phoebus, and rightfully so. Phantoms had the longest winning streak in the entire state, coming off 3 straight state titles, 2 of which were at Class 3 before they moved up, and 1 last year in Class 4 in the final play when Maricus Banks found Keontae Gray. And in TJ's case, Thomas Jefferson of Richmond, they are ranked number 2 behind Liberty Christian, just ahead of Lafayette. They have work to do. Yet, those coaching staffs, they've got those kids believing, and those are wins tonight that I think are going to keep accelerating them on their journeys to potentially a big, big day at Liberty University. And our last hat tip before I finish up with you on thoughts on some of the surprises and some other things in the world of sports. I look for helmet stickers, hats hits. I got my Arizona Cardinals hat because first place in the NFC West, baby. We got to enjoy it while we can. And we have the Bears, the very, very disheveled, heartbroken Bears, coming to the desert for Sunday's matchup. I'm a little worried, though, about it. I'm not going to lie. I got a little friendly gentleman's agreement lunch wager with my man Dino Franza from Max Media and Fox Sports 1310. Loser's got to buy lunch for the other. I don't want to buy lunch for him. I like Dino, but I want him to buy me lunch. I really do. But helmet stickers, hat tips, whatever you want to call it, if I'm to give one to somebody on this particular Friday night, the first one of November 2024, it's got to go to my man Jordan JoJo Thomas. Give him a follow on Twitter or X at the Jordan, Jordyn Thomas. He's a 3-sport athlete who benches 250, squats 395. His NCAA ID is, well, don't worry about that. I'm not going to give out his number. Oh, his number's on the screen. Sorry, I'm not going to give it out. But listen to what he did tonight. 27 carries for 324 and 3 tutties. It's 3 touchdowns for those who don't know what the heck tutties are. All the older viewers and listeners and watchers, observers out there. And they win a shootout 49-40 with Brookport. And I told you, folks, I told you, people, I told all of you that the Commonwealth District, the Fredericksburg football, I didn't say the quality was the best, but right now in 2024, it is the most exciting in Virginia. Period, bar none. Sorry, all you folks in other area codes besides the 540. I'm just telling it like it is. And that game was exciting. It's the seatbelt gang there. Seatbelt gang, yeah. Dude's a baller, Jordan Thomas. Season totals now 1564 on the ground, 20 touchdowns, that's 9 yards per pop. Recruit this young man for the next level. He is getting it done. That is putting in work. Overdrive. And Riverbend, out of nowhere, with Briar Woods' surprising to me loss on Thursday night to Stonebridge. Come on, Falcons. Every time I want to believe in you and buy in you, y'all just seem to let me down. I'm not counting you out just yet. But come on, get it together, Brady Carmichael, Coach Mike Burnett, and the boys at Briar Woods. You lose to Stonebridge, you might have salvaged this season. You could see them again in the playoffs. But Riverbend, suddenly the 1 seed, they beat Colonial Forge. They beat Stafford, who scored 66 on this particular night. They beat Brook Point in a game that's head spinning back and forth. Riverbend is no longer I'll say it, I thought they were a little bit of a fraudy number 1 seed. They're a legit 1 seed as long as Jordan Thomas, JoJo, is doing this. It's JoJo's playhouse. Everybody else is just living in his world because he is the guy. JoJo Thomas. Who's doing it better than him right now? Nobody. He's a top rusher in Fredericksburg. That's player of the year stuff. If he doesn't get district player of the year or regional offensive player of the year with those numbers, he's been robbed. He's getting it done. That's big time stuff. So there you go. We went about 20 minutes on all of that. Jack, I'm going to get to the Hayfield stuff. I know you're waiting. And other people out there, they're going to say, first of all, I'll get called a Hayfield hater, not a Hatfield hater, a Hayfield hater or a Hatefield lover. I got all these people with these, and I should expose the fake Twitter or X accounts of people that, create an account and say I'm kissing Fanny. I'm going to tell you what I really think on the situation. Other people quick to put it out there. But a reputable reporter, by the way, and Dave Fawcett, Inside Nova, does a really good job and he wouldn't put something out there unless he's got a good source. So I'm going to give Dave a hat tip. He does his homework. He's thorough, meticulous. Couple things though before I get to that and my thought on it. Surprises tonight, and this goes with the theme of football at all levels for all you viewers out there and folks that do it responsibly. Put shekels not on the high school but on the college and the pro action. Just because a team has a better record, and my dad gets caught up in this in the picks. Thursday night was a great example in the NFL. Jets 2-6, a toxic mess at home against the 6-2 Houston Texans. Texans beat up at wide receiver, got a good quarterback in C.J. Stroud, but haven't been playing crisp. And my pop says it's a no-brainer. And the Texans, I said, well, the Jets are favored. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. And the Jets, after their miserable start, ended up winning the game. Last week, James Carville thought that would be the case with BYU Central Florida, the Carville contrarian method, and he went to pick Central Florida over BYU, which made some sense. And I didn't put any shekels down, but I actually bought into that theory. And didn't happen. BYU smothered them. And now BYU could be a real player for the college football playoff. But what I'm getting at is just because you look on paper, games are not played on paper. Better record, they'll win that game. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso says. Here's your examples tonight. 4-4 Bayside beat 5-3 Ocean Lakes in the game I was at, fourth straight win in the series. You had Hopewell, who's not had a great year. They beat Thomas Dale, a Class 3 in the Central District, beating a Class 6. You had Grayson County, which had 3 losses, barely in my top 10. George Wythe, the Maroons were surging, took them down. Grayson County might see them again in Region 1C playoff action, but they won't be afraid of them. EC Glass, 4-4, hanging by a thread. Their playoff hopes in 4D. They needed this one in the Jug Bowl, the rivalry game with Heritage of Lynchburg, which has put it to them in the past, and they put it to a lot of teams this year. The Hilltoppers. Jamar Lovelace's Hilltoppers got it done against Brad Bradley's Pioneers. I tip my hat to you. Northside over Lord Botetourt. Botetourt's got the quarterback from Northside. I've been loving up Botetourt all year long. Coach Jamie Harless, what they do over there. Hulk and Lyman, the Muscle Milk, the whole bit. They got shut out by the Vikings 17-0. This wasn't basketball, 2-time defending state champs with Cy Hardy and Michael Harvey, although Michael Harvey, he's a really, really good two-sport athlete, among the best. If I did a top 10 to 20 multi-sport athletes in the state of Virginia, Michael Harvey's on that list, ladies and gents. And Abingdon beating Union. It didn't have a worse record, but I felt, Class 3, Union's really good district. Didn't happen. So there were some surprises, and the records can be misleading. I feel literally pulled a D on at Colorado, except they're actually winning games. Can't believe you said that, Jack. So there you have it. The thoughts and reaction to Hayfield. So for those that have not heard the news, they don't know what we're talking about. They're not up to speed on what's taking place. There was a report. It was rumored and circulated by folks on social media. I was getting different feedback, but I had heard that this was potentially in the works. But Dave's reporting about 10, 12 hours ago is that the Virginia High School League has banned the Hayfield High School football team for the 2024-2025 playoffs. Now, the decision has been appealed by the Virginia High School League, by Hayfield High School, and there's a VHSL committee that's going to hear that appeal next week, and that appeal is going to take place on Monday or Tuesday. I think it's Monday. Now, they were investigated by Fairfax County and cleared. So some say, what does this say? That Fairfax County investigates and nothing happens. Is it a bad job by them? What's the deal here? Other people are now coming out of the woodwork saying, what about this athletic program in this sport with transfers? Folks, couple things. Number one, this has been swirling ever since the summertime when the Fairfax Times did an article. Coach leaves Ferdinand Woodbridge and Daryl Overton, highly successful, really smart coach, wins back-to-back state titles. His brother, his nephew, players go there. Now, the 2-month investigation cleared them of wrongdoing. And there were some players that did sit out, and then they got cleared. Now, the Virginia High School League, they have the authority to do its own investigation, and they have officials right now not talking on the matter. We are efforting. We're going to get him hopefully on the podcast soon, and that's Dr. Billy Hahn, the VHSL executive director, to come on. He's retiring, to get some reaction about this. I'm sure my colleague, Coach Young, has some thoughts on this as well. A couple things. One, if you're doing something wrong at any level in life, sports-related, you should suffer the consequences and punishment. I hate to make comparisons to steroids or, the Houston Astros cheating scandal, but things of that nature do come to mind. But my heart does ache for the student athletes in this. This has happened to other schools around the state that's had to forfeit games or miss the playoffs to go back to in the 757 Ocean Lakes in 2009, I think it was. My heart does ache for them because a lot of them put their blood, sweat, and tears into this from the summertime. And now if this appeal does not overturn them and allow them to play in the postseason, they're done. Same token, let's be real here. Let's be honest. If there are adults doing things that they shouldn't be doing or bending the rules or circumventing the rules or cheating, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but if that is the case and there's evidence or it's found that way based on the Virginia High School League's own investigation, then you have to suffer the consequences. If I break the law, if I get caught speeding, run a red light, I got to suffer that ticket. Now, sometimes you can get away with it. And there are other folks out there who are getting away with it and will continue to get away with it. But if you do something that you shouldn't and you get caught, sometimes you have to face the penalty. Now, I don't love it. I hate the timing of it. In life, there's no perfect timing. We just saw Tony Bennett step down as the head basketball coach at UVA, and people are crucifying him. We had Jeff Jones, UVA grad, former ODU basketball coach, on our show a couple weeks ago, and he talked about it at length. And I think some of the criticism is unfair. Some may feel it's warranted. We all have the right to our own opinions on this matter. What saddens me is that I won't get to see a Jeff Overton Jr. who's 1,000 yards away from possibly breaking this VHSL career rushing record and Grayson Overstreet do that unless this is overturned. Same token, this also gets teams like Madison and Battlefield. Yeah, I said them first two for a second. Oscar Smith, people in a 757 are celebrating, especially the Tigers, and feeling that they're now the favorite to win this championship. And they may very well be. But I've said this for a while, going back to August, and I'm going to say it again. This is not a foregone conclusion that Hayfield or Oscar Smith wins the Class 6 championship. Battlefield and Madison, folks, are darn good with really good defenses, and defenses win championships. Coach B says 1,000 yards, that's a ton of yards to go. Well, when you have 8,000 in your career, by the way, Coach Barrett, and you average what he averages, I'm not putting it past him with 5 playoff games and 1 regular season game to get that. I just brought up what JoJo Thomas is doing at Riverbend, and if you missed it, you can go back and watch it on the YouTube. But we're talking 1,000 yards in 6 games if they made a state championship. That's 167 yards a game. I've watched him. Trust me, he can do it. Not saying he would do it. But you'd like to see if he ever got to a championship game and he's 134, he's 201 yards away. And by the way, he's had 2 epic state championship games, which I've been privileged to call. Do I think he's Terry Kirby? If Terry's out there watching, and I've had him on a radio show before, I think Jeff Overton Jr. reminds me a lot of Reggie Bush. And I didn't watch Terry Kirby live. People like you competed against him, know him quite well, how good he was. I'd love to see how it go in their prime. That'd be a neat little video game simulation to do. I'm not going to say he's better than Terry Kirby, but I'm not going to say that Terry Kirby was definitively better than him because I've been doing this 20-plus years, and Jeff Overton's easily one of the 3 or 4 best running backs all-purpose I've ever seen. Easily. And I'll have to sit down and do my list for you when I have more time here. Not at 12:26 a.m. in the East Coast on a Saturday morning when I got to get to sleep by about 2:30 a.m. when I watch a Law and Order rerun episode like you will, and then deal with Ed Young's nonsense in the morning. So yeah, that's where I am with this. And that's just some of my perspective. I could go a little bit more in depth on it. I want to wait to see what the results and verdicts are. And again, I'm not defending Hayfield. I'm not accusing them and saying that the things are right or accurate. I don't know what evidence there is. I do know, and someone said to me, it's interesting. I'll read without divulging who some of these messages were for. I'll make sure I'm not sharing the screen. Here we go. One of the messages I got was, darn shame. Hope this gets reversed on the appeal. Just hypothetical here. Or here we go. I think hypocritical here. I think it is. And they go, where is it? I just had it. Other schools doing this. Did you ever recall? Here we go. Kids have been cleared. I see some of the parents at the grocery store, bank, etc. They all live here. Do you recall the VHSL ever laying down a 2-year postseason ban? I don't, but I also don't remember seeing 30-plus transfers. The Yankees lost at least. I'm not laughing about the transfers. Jack says that about the Yankees loss. Yeah, Ed will be upset in the morning, which is always a good thing when he's cranky. Wait to hear what John White says about I asked him about that. Any advice for Coach Young? But I've never seen that before. So, It's unfortunate. I think that's the biggest thing. This is not a good moment. There are people that are celebrating this. We shouldn't be celebrating this or happy about this. This is not a good moment for VHSL or Virginia high school sports for this to happen. It's not good. And I'm sure folks in the Virginia High School League office probably look at this whole big ordeal and think that this is shedding a negative light, which they don't like. They may not publicly come out and say that. So, look, it's unfortunate. We'll see what the final verdict is in the coming days because the playoffs start soon. And the brackets have to be in by a week from Monday, which is November the 11th. We've got an ODU women's home basketball opener against Morgan State, I think it is. Got a road game at Ball State coming up in Muncie, Indiana on Monday. So that's it. Last thought or two here. I don't know if I put it out there. Number one, my NBA championship pick is Oklahoma City over Boston. I'm sticking with that with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren. Number two, Penn State, Ohio State. I can't stand James Franklin at all. I think he runs it up on people. He rubs me the wrong way. But Ryan Day and Ohio State better be worried because even if Drew Allar isn't 100% and great, this is a game the Buckeyes can lose. Penn State's defense looks pretty good, and if they win the battle up front, defensive line versus offensive line, and find a way to cover Ohio State's receivers a little bit, it's not going to surprise me if the Nittany Lions finally win a big game under Coach Franklin for the first time in, well, ever. And number three, did you all watch what my man Ashton Jeanty of Boise State did to San Diego State tonight? Did you watch him? Because San Diego State scared the living putty out of Washington State the other night at 2 a.m, which was a great game. Way better than that Lakers game, by the way. And Boise State, they have the guy that should get the Heisman Trophy in Ashton Jeanty. I know people are going to tell me the quarterback at Miami. They're going to tell me Mr. Hunter at Colorado. Ashton Jeanty. That's my guy for the Heisman Trophy. So there you have it. That's going to wrap up this Hats Hits IG Live for this particular Friday into Saturday. We'll be on with the 757 Saturday Sports Talk. I'm taking the Phantoms 14-10 over Warwick. It's a chance to shut me up, Raiders. Prove me wrong. Phoebus trying to keep that win streak going. Should be a fun one, a defensive battle. And defense wins championships at Darling Stadium on Saturday. We'll have you covered wall-to-wall action, not just on VirginiaPreps.com, but also here on Cova Sports TV and with all of our social channels. We thank you all for interacting and tuning in. Love the feedback. We're getting tons of great hits and comments and reaction running into people at games. So have a great rest of your night and sports weekend. Halloween's in the rearview mirror, and the countdown to one of my favorite holidays where we just chow down. Thanksgiving is on, and we'll talk to you again. See you later. Have a good one.